Let's go. We're going around the ring. For those 90s kids, it's our version of the segment on the second best talk show of that era, Attack of the Show, Around the Net. Those wondering what the best talk show of that era was, obviously it was the Craig Ferguson show. I watched I watched Attack of the Show and Craig Ferguson every day throughout my high school years. Um, you're laughing, but Craig's the man.
Uh, I'm more of a Conan O'Brien guy, but okay.
So my partner saw this question, saw this meme on the internet, the wrestling forums. Who would you have be Eddie Guerrero's final match if he got one more? He shared it with me. Here it is. Who would it be if you could have Eddie Guerrero get one more match?
Uh, so for me, for my opponent, I'm just gonna give you like a little bit of history with Eddie Guerrero. His first like bit of fame in wrestling came when he teamed up with Art Barr. They were Los Gringos Locos, and they were basically like probably the greatest heel team in lucha libre history. They were able to sell a pay-per-view in the US of them versus another team, Mask versus Hair. So I'm looking to recreate that, and you take Eddie Guerrero oozing all his Latino heat, and then you team him up with Dirty Dominic Mysterio. You put them in a lowrider eating chicken tendies, just terrorizing Rey Mysterio. That's like must see TV. You talk about the 90s, used to have must see TV. This is must see TV to me. Um, but that's not going to be Eddie's last match to me. I'd have him uh, terrorize Ray, but get to the point to where Dominic's so dastardly and evil to Ray that even Eddie's like, hey, step back for a little bit. And then that's how you could set up a feud between them. And I think that would just be an incredible match with Dom and Eddie trying to like out lie, cheat, and steal each other to get the win. Like they're both still the bad guy, but they're trying to beat each other. It'd be great like TV for them to interact. And then talking about history, you know, Ray and Dominic are the first father son team to hold tag titles in WWE. Dominic could be the only guy to ever replicate that twice with both his fathers. So, yeah, I just think that'd be great, like TV and a great feud, and then would set up the future of wrestling going forward and Latino heat.
First, before I give my pick, it's all to me. I think Eddie Guerrero has the greatest babyface underdog promo of all time with Brock Lesnar, to the point where Cody doesn't ever mention it, but I think all his promos are taken from that one promo of this babyface underdog realism storytelling. I understand that Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Big Papa Pump, they kind of use some realism into their promos, but really it was just like taking shots. It wasn't this, yeah, I know that the underdog. I know that I don't stack up to you. I know the
Yeah.
odds are against me, and it works so well. I think that's why the person I want to see him with is this version of Gunther right now. The way Gunther is treating Damian Priest, Randy Orton, and he's touching on those real shit, and then Priest and Randy, they just aren't playing it the way Eddie Guerrero would play it, or like Cody Rhodes would play
Yeah.
it. The other thing too is I think Eddie versus Gunther, that feud, the match, it encompass all wrestling fans. The fans that care about character work and promos because they're gonna get that babyface monster heel, and the people that care about the work rate these days, those guys are going to deliver. To me, this match and this little feud that we could have got would be the A24 of wrestling. Like people say, oh, Roman should have got an Emmy nomination. Fuck that. Like you
Yeah.
give me these two dudes in a promo and it culminates into a wrestling match. The way that they're going to do the promos of this baby facing this monster, in essence Thanos, and he's just going after the average Joe babyface
Yeah.
in the groundswell movement, and then the way those two are going to make their styles work in the match, yeah, they're gonna get nominated. Like that's the best storytelling I think wrestling could produce is this Gunther Hill face that Eddie Guerrero baby face that we got with Brock.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That promo you're talking about, like one of my top three favorite promos of all time. And it's because of the realism. And you talk about like Big Papa Pump and those guys like taking shots. This is different because Eddie was like talking about real stuff, but he was talking about himself. He was almost taking shots at himself
Hmm.
of what he used to be. And then yeah, we all know how that turned out. But that would be like phenomenal that Gunther bullying that Eddie Guerrero and basically being like, "There's no way you're gonna beat me."
And the other thing I like too is like in that time, it was like this fight. Eddie was gonna have to fight this monster, and then this time, it's like Eddie's gonna have to out wrestle this dude. That's why I just think it works so well because back then, I feel like characters mattered more, and these days they care more about just the in ring stuff. Like I couldn't tell you what Will Ospreay's character is, but
Right.
I like his in ring stuff a lot.
Yeah.
I guess someone on Reddit said it's an Assassin's Creed
I couldn't
ripoff.
tell you.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't get it, but I know
That
he's
makes
good in
sense
the
because
ring.
he's out here almost killing people.
Yeah,
But
I get
yeah,
the in ring stuff.
yeah, you need like a reason for these guys to fight, and a lot of the times it's just like, well, there's a title, and it. But the thing with Brock and Eddie was a title, but Eddie spun it with the promo of being like, if I get that title, I can take that home to my kids and be like, it was all worth it. Like I know I was a piece of shit, but look now, like I'm not anymore, and you
And it,
know, redeeming himself.
Brock was just like, I think it was very
Brock was like very good at being that cocky, like overconfident. Like there's no way this guy
yeah,
can.
it was like a laughable, but I think the promos Gunther would deliver, like this fucking dude's gonna
Yeah,
go in.
Gunther's gonna cut deep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I'm saying that shit is going to get you Emmys because that's TV, and then
yeah.
we're getting it with the wrestling match to pay
And
off.
then the wrestling match to me would surpass the microphone work, the story, because in the 90s there was these guys that traveled the world and honed their craft, Dean Malenko, Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, and then Gunther has that European style, so Eddie could like bring in Japanese maneuvers, lucha libre maneuvers, American maneuvers, and it would just blend like so perfectly to me. If you look at what Eddie did with like Kurt Angle, him and Gunther would kill. Like they would, nobody could follow that.
That's what I'd be interested too in to see. I think everyone agrees Gunther is amazing in the ring, and most
Yeah,
people would consider Eddie. I want to see what these two do, knowing they're like, all right, this is the promo work we told. Now, like, let's get in this match. Like, the Brock match is good with Eddie. I just think Gunther's on a whole nother level. That like, what are these two really gonna cook up in this match? That
yeah,
I think it would be. I think Gunther face Eddie would be the greatest babyface heel match of all time. Underdog babyface, like legit. Uh, like that Daniel Bryan groundswell. Oh, this is our guy. People's
yeah,
champ.
yeah. I mean that would be incredible. And it's like of all the wrestling deaths, I think Eddie's like the hardest one for me almost because of he still was young, and it's like we still could have got some of this. You know, I mean, he would have. I'm not sure the exact age. He would have been in his 50s, but like Jericho's still going at 50. R-Truth's still going at 50.
Isn't R-Truth 60?
I don't know. He might be.
He's
He's
physically
old
fit
though.
as fuck
Yeah,
though.
yeah. But I mean, these there's like Sting went until he was 60 some years old, and it was still good. It's there's it was there. Like we still could have got Eddie in this era. Maybe not all the time, but like once in a while, and it's like that's the one that's the hardest for me to deal with.
The thing that makes me sad about Eddie as well is I knew Eddie. I watched him. I never realized how goated he was until you told me to like go back and look, and then
Yeah,
rewatching all his matches, I'm like, oh okay, like he's probably actually uh Bret Hart has a soft spot in my heart, but
yeah,
like when it comes to wrestling, he probably is the guy I would say like, oh, he had everything.
Yeah, he's in terms of like everything, he's definitely like top 5, if not top 3 for me.
And I
He
feel like he's not talked about enough.
he doesn't get the like yeah,
Maybe
his flowers or whatever kids call it these days.
do you think it's the Chris Benoit factor that they were so close that people don't want to bring up Eddie?
No, I think it's just like you said, like his heyday.
Was Rock and Austin time?
Well, at that, like I don't think the people were really paying that much attention. Like our generation, your generation, probably didn't really like notice the in ring work so much, you know. And yeah, he there were bigger stars around.
Yeah,
And then by the time everyone realized he's gone, so it's like there's, you know what I'm saying?
I knew him as Latino Heat, and I was like, oh, that shit was funny. That was
Yeah,
cool. And then I knew about the Rey Mysterio match, but then I went back and I looked. And I'm like, wait a minute, this dude fucking
yeah,
like he's Kenny Omega, 5-star every time. Like,
he was, yeah,
all right. Actually, now I want to Google how many 5 stars Dave gave Eddie.
probably none.
Yeah, he gave Kurt none.
Yeah,
All right. It's almost like people might be buying these stars these days.
yeah. Will Ospreay's paying a lot then.
All right. In the comments, let us know your views on the choices that we gave for who we would like to see Eddie have one last match with, and let us know who you would like to see him have one last match with.